You're probably using the wrong AI model. You're wasting time with tools that can't keep up. Google just dropped Gemini 3 Pro, and the benchmarks are insane. This isn't hype, this is data. If you're still on older models, you need to see this. Hey, I'm Ava. Today we're breaking down Google's Gemini 3 Pro because this thing is dominating almost every benchmark test. Let's start with the most shocking stat. Gemini 3 Pro scored 91.9% on GPQA Diamond, a scientific knowledge test. Claude Sonnet 4.5 got 83.4. GPT-5.1 got 88.1. And this isn't one narrow win. This model is leading across almost everything. Humanity's last exam tests reasoning and knowledge. Gemini 3 Pro hit 37.5%. Claude got 13.7. GPT-5.1 got 26.5. The gap is massive. Now let me show you something wild about long horizon tasks. Gemini 3 Pro just set a new record on Vending Bench 2. This benchmark tests how well AI handles complex multi-step tasks over time. Think planning projects that take days or managing workflows with dozens of moving parts. Gemini 3 Pro earned $5,478 on average. Claude Sonnet 4.5 earned $3,838. GPT-5.1 earned $1,473. Gemini 2.5 Pro earned $573. Look at that first chart. Gemini 3 Pro's line keeps climbing. It's not even close. What does this mean for your actual work? Scientific knowledge means better research assistance. When you're writing reports or analyzing data, this model understands context at a new level. Complex reasoning means better problem solving. When you're stuck, Gemini 3 Pro works through multiple angles and finds solutions other models miss. Visual understanding is huge. On ScreenSpot Pro, which tests screen understanding, Gemini 3 Pro scored 72.7%. Claude got 36.2. GPT-5.1 got 3.5. If you work with visual content or interfaces, this model actually sees what it's looking at. Math capabilities matter more than you think. Even if you're not doing advanced math, the logical reasoning that powers math performance also powers analytical thinking. And those long horizon capabilities, game-changing for project management, planning, and strategy. Any work requiring thinking multiple steps ahead. When I first started diving into these new models, I was overwhelmed trying to figure out which one delivered results. That's when I found this community called AI Profit Boardroom. 1,800 members all focused on learning AI together and sharing what actually works. It taught me which workflows save time versus which ones waste it. The community shares real use cases and practical implementations. If you're serious about using AI to improve your work and skills, check it out. Link in description. Now let's talk deep think mode. Google describes it as giving the model more time to carefully reason through queries. The performance boost is massive on certain tasks. Look at Amy 2025, a mathematics benchmark. Without tools, Gemini 3 Pro scored 95%. With code execution, it hit 100%. Claude also hit 100 with code execution. When you give these models the right tools and thinking time, they achieve near-perfect performance on standardized tests. On ARC-AGI-2, which tests visual reasoning puzzles, Gemini 3 Deep Think scored 45.1% with tools turned on. Compare that to 31.1 for standard Gemini 3 Pro, 4.9 for Gemini 2.5 Pro, 13.6 for Claude, and 17.6 for GPT-5.1. When you give this model tools and time to think, it solves puzzles that stump other AIs. Math Arena Apex tests challenging math contest problems. Gemini 3 Pro scored 23.4%. Gemini 2.5 Pro scored 0.5%. Claude scored 1.6. GPT-5.1 scored 1%. This model is over 20 times better than its predecessor. Here's what the data shows across all benchmarks. Gemini 3 Pro leads in academic reasoning, visual reasoning, scientific knowledge, multimodal understanding, screen understanding, multilingual capabilities, and long content performance. It's competitive on coding, but not always the leader. Claude Sonnet, 4.5 leads on SWE Bench Verified at 77.2% compared to Gemini 3 Pro's 76.2. But look at Live Code Bench Pro. Gemini 3 Pro scored 2439, Claude scored 1418, GPT-5.1 scored 2243. Terminal Bench 2.0 shows Gemini 3 Pro at 54.2% for agentic terminal coding, Claude at 42.8, GPT-5.1 at 47.6. T2 Bench for agentic tool use shows Gemini 3 Pro at 85.4%, Claude at 84.7%. GPT-5.1 at 80.2. When it comes to using tools and acting as an agent, Gemini 3 Pro is leading. Google highlighted planning as a major use case. Whether you're planning travel, events, or projects, Gemini 3 Pro handles the complexity. It understands dependencies and constraints and can optimize across multiple variables. They showed an example of planning a weekend trip. You give it your preferences and goals. It builds an itinerary that actually makes sense. Not generic suggestions, real plans accounting for timing, locations, and your specific needs. Research is another massive use case. The scientific knowledge capabilities mean you can dive deep into complex topics, ask nuanced questions, get answers demonstrating real understanding, not surface-level summaries. Actual insight. Data analysis gets a huge boost. When you're working with complex data sets, Gemini 3 Pro identifies patterns, draws connections, and helps you understand what the data is telling you. About Vending Bench 2. That $5,400 average isn't about making money. It's measuring how well the model performs complex, sustained tasks. The benchmark simulates business decisions over time. Higher scores mean better decision-making and planning. It's measuring capability. The multimodal capabilities are solid. It scored 81% on MMMU Pro, which tests multimodal understanding and reasoning. That's compared to 68 for Claude and 76 for GPT-5.1. Video MMMU test, knowledge acquisition from videos. Gemini 3 Pro scored 87.6%. Claude got 77.8. GPT-5.1 got 80.4. If you work with video content, this matters. Multilingual performance is impressive. MMMLU tests multilingual Q&A. Gemini 3 Pro scored 91.8%. Claude got 89.1. GPT-5.1 got 91. Global PIQA tests common sense reasoning across 100 languages and cultures. Gemini 3 Pro hit 93.4%. Claude 90.1. GPT-5.1 90.9. Should you switch from whatever you're using now? Here's my honest take. If you're doing complex analytical work, scientific research, or tasks requiring deep reasoning, Gemini 3 Pro is worth testing. The benchmarks show clear advantages. If you're primarily coding, Claude Sonnet 4.5 still has strengths on certain tasks. Both models are excellent, but Claude has an edge in specific areas. If you need the best long-term planning and complex project management, Gemini 3 Pro's Vending Bench 2 score suggests it's the strongest option available. My recommendation is test both. Don't just switch based on benchmarks, try them on your actual work. See which gives you better results for your specific use cases. Deep Think mode isn't for everything. For most tasks, standard Gemini 3 Pro is fast and capable. Deep Think is for when you hit a wall, when you need maximum reasoning power, when speed matters less than getting the absolute best answer. Use it strategically. Facts, benchmark, suite tests, retrieval, and search. Gemini 3 Pro scored 70.5%. Gemini 2.5 Pro scored 63.4%. Claude got 50.4%. GPT-5.1 got 50.8. If your work involves finding and synthesizing information, Gemini 3 Pro's retrieval capabilities are notably stronger. Simple QA verified tests parametric knowledge. Gemini 3 Pro scored 72.1%. Claude got 29.3%. GPT-5.1 got 34.9%. This shows Gemini 3 Pro has strong base knowledge, not just reasoning ability. ChartShiv reasoning tests information synthesis from complex charts. Gemini 3 Pro hit 81.4%. Claude 68.5%. GPT-5.1 69.5%. If you work with data visualization, this capability matters. Here's a framework for thinking about these models. Gemini 3 Pro excels at breadth and depth. It performs well across more benchmarks than competitors. It also goes deeper on complex reasoning tasks. Claude Sonnet 4.5 excels at coding and certain specialized tasks. GPT-5.1 is strong overall, but doesn't lead in most categories anymore. Your choice depends on your work. If you do one thing primarily, pick the model that leads in that category. If you need versatility, Gemini 3 Pro's broad strength makes it appealing. One limitation to note: the MRCR benchmark tests long content performance. On the 128K average setting, Gemini 3 Pro scored 77%, Claude scored 47.1%. But on the 1 million token pointwise test, Gemini 3 Pro scored 26.3%, and Claude wasn't supported. For extremely long documents, performance drops. What I'm most excited about is the combination of reasoning depth and breadth. Previous models either reasoned well or knew a lot. Gemini 3 Pro does both. That combination is powerful for complex work requiring both knowledge and thinking. If you're looking to dive deeper into AI tools and actually implement them in your work, I recommend AI Profit Boardroom. Over 1,800 people learning how to use AI effectively. Everyone shares real experiences. What's working, what's not, which tools are worth your time, which ones to skip. No hype, just solid information and practical guidance from people doing the work. It's helped me stay on top of updates and figure out how to actually apply them. Link in description if you want to check it out. If this breakdown helped you understand Gemini 3 Pro and whether it's worth your attention, hit that like button. Subscribe for more honest AI tool breakdowns without the hype. Drop a comment telling me which model you're using and whether you're planning to test Gemini 3 Pro. Thanks for watching. I'm Ava. Keep learning, keep building. See you in the next one.